Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike,
And I'm Chris.
and today we have a special episode to you talking all about the D23 event that had happened this weekend. We're going to go over everything that was discussed, the announcements, both TV, movie, and live action, cartoon, everything. Our thoughts on it, what we like, what we didn't like, and we love to hear from you. If we didn't cover something that you wanted to discuss, leave a comment below. If you agree or disagree with us, again, leave a comment below, and we'll love to converse with you after the video. And with that, let's dig in. So, D23. Chris, have you ever caught up with any of the previous Disney stuff in the past?
Bits and pieces here and there,
Yep.
but not as much as this one. This one I just felt was going to have so much energy and information pumped out at you. So I was really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. The fact that it's taking place at the end of essentially the 23 movies, Marvel's last 10-year culmination. What's next? So they got to come out with a bang, especially after Comic-Con. And then the coming up to the end of Star Wars and the future of Star Wars. So they have to talk about that. And now with their new streaming service launching, again, having to come out with a bang, making sure everyone is ready to invest day one. And I think that they accomplished that.
Oh, I agree, 100%. Especially with the new streaming service, the Disney Plus, they really had to make sure that people knew what they were looking forward to, so that they could be ready to subscribe.
Excellent, excellent. So let's get into the announcements. We'll go over everything and discuss what we like to discuss. And at the end, we'll also give you the dates of release of the service, the pricing, the countries, all that kind of information. So we'll start with day one. We'll dive into the Disney streaming conference that they did in Hall D23. So this is not in any particular order, but they did cover a lot of the old history of Disney, a lot of the movies and shows that you'll be getting on day one. Things like, now that they own Fox, you're getting The Simpsons, and you're getting old Disney movies and old series of shows that were what they call DCOMs, Disney Channel original movies, and things of that nature.
I also heard that they're talking about bringing Simpsons back to the big screen.
Oh, really?
For a sequel to their movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going on TV now, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it hasn't been canceled or anything.
No.
So they definitely have that going for themselves. And do you know if is Family Guy part of Fox or no?
I'm not too sure, actually.
Be interesting. I mean, I guess they would have announced it if it was. Probably not.
Yeah.
All right. So as far as new projects, new and old, they talked about High School Musical, the show.
Yeah.
All the original songs are back. Obviously, new actors and actresses, new characters, new reimagining. But I thought that the songs were great. I'm not a huge fan of those movies originally. I know my wife is, so there definitely will be some interest in that. What are your thoughts on that particular show?
I think it's smart that they're redoing it. It's about that time. I'm sure the young actors will, a couple will hit it like Zac Efron did and so on. But it's a good opportunity for them, and I think they'll get that younger generation, and then maybe they'll watch the other movies as well and get even more fans.
I'm pretty sure they'll be on there day one as well.
Yeah.
They talked about Phineas and Ferb, a brand new movie about their sister, Candace, I think it was. So that's going to be coming out. Everyone was excited. And then they announced that all of the original 140 some odd plus episodes of the original show will be on the streaming service. So I never caught. I was already too old by the time that show came out. Did you ever watch it?
No, I didn't. I think my youngest sister might have watched it a bit, but I wasn't around inside when she was watching it too often. But I heard it did very well. A lot
very
of
popular.
Fan base. Yep. So
they made some Disney Infinity figures on the characters, so
that's right.
They definitely were very popular. I've seen them. I'm aware of Phineas and Ferb. I know if I spot them, I can name which one's Phineas and Ferb, and the Platypus Perry. Yep, I get it. So I probably that would be a show I'll watch with my kids.
Yeah, I agree. And they started putting them into games and books and stuff like that. So they're definitely got a fan base. So it'll be good to reboot it and have another movie and so on.
Absolutely. They discussed Lizzie McGuire bringing that show. All of the I think all the original show episodes are going to be there. But they talked about Lizzie 2.0 and that they interviewed a lot of actresses and trying to find the perfect person. And so when they finally decided on the person they wanted, they were like, well, you're probably going to ask, why is she so different? And he comes out being all smug and saying, well, that's because she's much older now. And then Hilary Duff is now coming back. She walked on stage. Yeah. She is reprising her role as Lizzie McGuire playing a 30-year-old, essentially.
Yeah.
I believe she's 34, 35 in real life. But, okay. So I've never watched the show. Interesting take.
Yeah, I think it's a smart take. I mean, she was that character.
Yep.
Bring her back for it, and then have a different spin on it. I think they're just going to follow her, day-to-day life as an adult, instead of her being a child this time.
Yes. No, I heard that there was still going to be I guess the thing of the show was that she'd have, I guess, cartoon moments in her head, and that's still going to happen.
Okay.
So she'll have like her 30-year-old self and then her younger self still at play. So I'm like, something for the fans.
I'm sure it'll work. I mean, Disney's pretty smart with their reboots and such.
Then they went on to Pixar, Disney and Pixar, and I was really, really happy with this. So the first show that they announced was a Toy Story short series called Forky Asks a Question. And Tony Hale is coming back to reprise his role as the voice of Forky, as well as the other original members of the voices of the cast. They showcased the first episode, or the first short. It's with him and Ham, and the topic is what is money, and it was pretty funny. I wasn't able to see it not being there, but I was able to hear it, and it was pretty funny, really smartly done. Again, original voice cast and staying true to the characters. So I'm all in for that.
Same here.
It was funny.
I love that they're bringing the real voices back, the cast back. I mean, they can just lend their voices out, but it makes it more authentic and more, big screen feeling on a small screen, which is nice.
Absolutely. And I wonder if they're going to have all the other shorts that have come out, the Disney, like Toys of Terror and the Monsters Inc. shorts that they've had. Are they going to put those on? Because I didn't get to watch a lot of those. So I'd love to be able to catch up on all those Pixar stuff.
Yeah, no, they're great.
So yeah, that was great. I really enjoyed that. Then they bumped into the next one, which is Monsters at Work, which is a Monsters Inc. Spin-off TV show. It's going to follow two new monsters. I believe it's a brother and a sister. And the Aisha Taylor, and I can't remember the gentleman's name who's playing the male lead, came out on stage and talked about the show. There were storyboards, no trailer was shown, but basically the show is about takes place right after the first movie ends, where they switch over from scream power to laughter. And the two characters, the brother specifically, had graduated from the Scream University, magna cum laude. And he's all excited for his first day at work, and then he finds out that they just switched over to laughter, and he is all distraught, not knowing what he's going to do, how he's going to fit in, how he's going to be able to figure out this new way. So it sounds like it's very funny. They definitely know what they're doing. Again, Pixar, great voice actors. So I'm definitely in again day one.
Same here. I always loved the Monsters Inc. series, so I'm really looking forward to this one, maybe over some of the other ones that we've mentioned already. But to have that kind of flip the script of, what happened after they switched from scaring to laughter? Schools were already going and so on. So it's I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And then they started to get into gear, shifting over to Marvel. And in how they introduced Kevin Feige was that the gentleman had made 23 movies. And he's here today on August 23rd in Hall D23. So I thought it was really cute how they kept emphasizing the 23 for Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
He came out, big cheers. He kind of recapped the show, the slate that they have, talking about the first one being, it wasn't Hawkeye. What was the first show they talked about? They had WandaVision, Hawkeye, Loki, and
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I don't think
What
that was
If?
the first show. What If? They started off with a What If.
Yeah.
And they actually showcased, a montage of the actual, like, what it looked like, the cartoon artwork, and everyone was really excited for that. So, that looks like it's going to be a success. I think the first episode is, look what you said about Peggy Carter, or Sharon Carter, or Peggy Carter. One of the two being Captain America.
Agent Carter had the shield and became Captain America, I guess, instead of Steve Rogers. And I believe in the concept was that Steve Rogers would eventually become some sort of Iron Man type Captain America.
Interesting. So I'm really excited for that. So that's what they kicked it off with. Then they moved into the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but essentially the new Captain America. And they did say that Sharon Carter would be in this show. They announced her. She came on stage. So that's great. Again, not much more details other than Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie coming on stage, telling a couple jokes and kind of moving on. But that show is very exciting. I'm excited for that one. They grazed over Loki. Tom Hiddleston, I believe, also came out on stage. I think. I don't remember if they talked too much about it, other than it's going to be a bunch of, it's going to be all over the place, him with the Tesseract and just a lot of different situations. I think they described it. because of his like teleporting and stuff. There's going to be from a timeline perspective, it's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like it might be like major events and how he had his hand in it, maybe from traveling that way. I think that's the route that they might go, just from what they were saying.
So they have that. Then they kicked over to. They touched base on Hawkeye. They talked about, following his daughter. Yeah. What's her name again? I can't remember now.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
The new Hawkeye. I can't remember her now. But anyway, we mentioned it in the previous video.
And
so she's basically going to be there, and she is the new Hawkeye, and so they're both there. I think they also mentioned another character, but I'm not 100% sure. But they did talk about that. And then the last show was WandaVision.
Yeah.
So they brought out Paul Bettany and
Olsen.
Yeah. So they brought them out. They came out. They discussed their show. It's going to be very much Dick Van Dyke-esque, a sitcom.
Yeah.
And it sounded like it was even like in an apartment where they talked about like the nosy neighbor and stuff. And I was like, oh, so is this going to be literally like the Dick Van Dyke show where you're inside an apartment? Like, is that how it is? Because they kind of had a relationship, and they were in an apartment in Infinity War, right? So I'm kind of curious as to like, is this going to be like, again, flashback like you had mentioned, or is this going to be, they fix them, whatever, they kind of pick up, and then it's their life together now? I don't know which way they're going.
Yeah, they didn't really say. They just said that it's going to be based on Scarlet Witch proving her power, getting stronger, and working on it.
Okay.
And did you see the little poster that they showed of it?
I did not see the poster. I just see the logo. That's it.
It's them sitting on a couch in the apartment. There's a TV screen in front of them glowing red, so it kind of has that dark. And then from the shadows, it has Scarlet Witch with her old cartoon with the two ears that come out and stuff like that. Nice. And then Vision beside her in that way. So I'm not too sure how they're going to go with this, but they say it's going to be like a sitcom.
It is.
They have a bunch of characters from like Thor, Darling, is that her name? So
one of the actresses.
Yeah, one of the actresses from Thor. So they have a bunch of actors and actresses from different movies that are kind of going into the show. So I'm not sure how they're going to play this, but they did mention that it was going to be a sitcom type.
They did. The theme song or the theme music that they had that's supposed to set the tone reminded me of I Love Lucy, and they did specifically talk about the Dick Van Dyke Show as an inspiration, which was another black and white comedy, which I enjoy those shows. I thought they were funny, but again, it's a different type of comedy, and while I love comedy shows and I love even the comic that they brought, the levity to the Marvel movies, I still feel like being Scarlet Witch and Vision, and they are heroes and they're fighting, especially with her powers being all mystical and magical and stuff, how is it going to be like, I'm home for dinner? Like, I don't know how it's going to work, but I have an open mind. I'm willing to take a look at it.
Nice.
So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, but I mean, that's still that's 2021, I believe, right? So we still have a while
should be some time. Just trying to pull up the
no problem
poster for me. That's not the good one.
Okay, so while you're pulling that up, so they kind of went through those original projects, and then they everyone was getting excited, and then they decided to announce 3 more, and they said there's room for 3 more, and everyone started screaming, and they had 3 more.
So this is it. We'll show you up there, but the shadows of them. It's got that eerie little red bit around the screen. It's got that old school.
It is, but that's the thing. Like, it's old school, so it's like, do they time travel? Because I'm like, the way that they're dressed, it makes it feel like, you're in the Dick Van Dyke Show. It's
got like
50s.
Half black and white and then half color.
Yeah, so it's like, is it 50s? So. Again, Dick Van Dyke, very Dick Van Dyke style, I Love Lucy style, thematic visual look to it. But at the same time, I'm like, if they are being set in that time, in this, if it takes place during what the events of now in the 2000s, it doesn't fit. So it kind of makes you wonder, are they going to another dimension? Are they traveling? We know that it ends with a connection with her and Doctor Strange, because she supposedly appears in the Doctor Strange movie, which is something about the multiverse. I can't remember it now.
The multiverse, horrors of the multiverse, or something like that.
Yeah. So we know there's multiverses, different dimensions. Are they going to be somehow travel or stuck or visiting? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and they're hinting that she's going to have her full power and potential at the end of the series, and that could be bad against friends and foes. So she could be. So do they bring her in as a bad guy in Doctor Strange, or how? It'll be interesting to see how they play this out.
I just had a thought. Yeah. When she's introduced in, was it Civil War?
Yeah.
Yes. She's
Her
introduced
and
in Civil
Quicksilver.
War, and him and her are first brought in to stop the first attack of the Avengers when they first show up, and she's using her powers on each Avenger. She messes with their mind
Correct.
to the point where they see things that they're scared of, or they feel like they're in a different place than they actually are. Very Mysterio-like.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Could this potentially be something happens, whether it's, she's learning her powers and something backfires, and she essentially, her powers are somehow making her feel like she is in this world, the loss of vision, and so she's experiencing this, but it's actually all in her head, so she's feels like she's in the 50s, but she's not really. That could be a twist.
That would be
and then she wakes
interesting.
up and she's got her powers, or she learns her powers, or something like that, or in the
Or
process.
maybe that's
of her,
why Doctor Strange comes in and pulls
see what
her
I mean?
back into reality. Oh, there's so many ways. That they
There's
could
so
go
many
with
ways,
Disney's
but it
leaving
just clicked.
so
I was like, wait a
open.
minute, mind messing Mysterio. She has that kind of similar element that would make sense.
Yeah.
That like, oh, she feels like she's trapped in the 50s. She's like out concussed, or her magic, or while she's learning an ability, it's messing with her mind. It'll be a very interesting way to see how they fit this in.
Yeah, I'm up in the air about that. I'm gonna watch it for sure, but I'm not sure. They've left it so open that it could go anyway. I'm not sure how they're gonna go with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard not to be like, to write it off, because this is all canon and it's all part of the MCU, and these characters are appearing in movies and stuff. You kind of want to be abreast of what's been happening, and not be out of the loop, because the next appearance of Falcon, and he's got the shield. He doesn't have the shield, perhaps, and you're like, why doesn't he have the shield? Well, if you watch the show, you kind of know what happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of almost pertinent for us hardcore fans to make sure we're following up on these shows.
Definitely.
So the three new projects. So he came out. The first one he announced was Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Great choice. Big super fan. She's an Inhuman. She's big buddies with the Heroes of New York, so Spider-Man and the Defenders, and Spider-Gwen and those people. And so great character to have.
I love it. Love
Yep.
it. Good storyline. She works a lot with the new Spider-Man, Miles.
Mhm.
She joins, they end up becoming a team, I believe.
Yep.
With her and a couple other people. So it's fantastic. It's a great new series to open up with. So I love it.
I think it's a great choice myself. Camilla Khan, I believe is her name.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you made a comment before we started shooting here, and with our fans, you were discussing the Avengers video game property.
Correct.
And they showcased footage. This wasn't actually during the Gamescom streams, but sort of like off screen. You'd have to watch one of the other people attending, and they showed an 18-minute actual gameplay demo where it basically is the opening 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah. The first level kind of.
Exactly. So we got to see footage of every character.
Yeah.
And then we saw another character in there.
Correct.
And your thoughts on her?
So there's a little girl that has a Captain Marvel backpack, right?
Yep.
And then they keep cutting to her in the videos. So after they announced Miss Marvel, I thought, wow, she's young. She's got the Captain Marvel fan. She's there to meet her fans in the game. Could this be Miss Marvel? Same background kind of, and they could be hinting that this might be Miss Marvel coming through. And after the events of that parade and celebration, her powers are released, and she may be a character in the game.
Yep.
So it will be interesting to join those two together as well.
So there's a cartoon show that I was watching. I shouldn't say show. I believe it's a movie. There's two movies, and I watched one of them recently. I believe it was called Marvel Rising, but I could be misquoting that, where it's basically showcasing, I guess, the new, younger team that's being trained by Captain Marvel. She's heading up the team. But, they're all doing their missions, and she kind of comes in and out of this particular movie that I'm watching. And it had Ms. Marvel, it had Squirrel Girl, it had Spider-Gwen, it had the head of the team, or the leader, so to speak, was Daisy, Quake. From the Inhumans, and we get introduced to the first time the new female Iron Man, who's in the show, and she shows up and has her armor and whatnot, and I believe her name becomes Ironheart.
Okay.
As her new name, she's like a pinkish Iron Man armor and whatnot.
Yeah.
But anyway, enjoyed the movie, and I was just like, yeah, Ms. Marvel is not just like a no-name hero. She showed up in Ultimate Alliance. She's been in video games. She's been in comics for a while, but I'm like, even in the more current movies and shows that are on TV, she's there. So it's not like it's completely out of left field like some other characters may or may not be. I think she's more relevant than even Squirrel Girl is at this point.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great choice, and hopefully it opens the door to characters like Squirrel Girl and Spider Gwen and whatnot, and kind of bringing them in at some point.
People keep wanting Squirrel Girl to come in, little hints here and there, little teasers that they think that they'll come in. So I think if this goes well, it's definitely a door kicking the door open for it.
Absolutely. So yeah, I just wanted to make mention of that. So that was the first announcement. We saw the logo for that. Then the second announcement was Moon Knight, and
Yes.
I think we had thought that this would be a possibility when Comic-Con and they were announcing the projects. A lot of people thought that Moon Knight would have been a perfect property to bring in. A lot of people were asking for him. Very Batman-esque character.
Yes.
Wears cloak and cape, and is I don't know if he has superpowers, but he's definitely a good fighter. He uses weapons and fists and his gadgets.
So he was a mercenary, I believe, left for dead, and then he gets
Spectre,
brought back. And I believe when he's brought back, they give him some special powers. And then he has alter egos as well. He's like a billionaire. He's a taxi driver. Okay. So he has all these alter egos that he comes back to the U.S. to fight crime.
Awesome. So I mean, it's a great opportunity. And again, I'd say a great new character to add into the team on the big screen. They flat out said that these characters would debut on their shows and then make their way onto the big screen in their, I guess, Avengers collaboration movie. So really excited. And this was the initial plan for the Netflix Marvel series with the Defenders, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, which, let's be honest, those characters are a little bit more well-known and more wanted characters to be in the movies than, Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight. But unfortunately, as well as the shows did, and not every single show was a hit, I still enjoyed all of them. But, Punisher and Daredevil even, we didn't want them to change the actors. We wanted to see them on the big screen. After they cast them, yes, like Luke Cage, I was like, this is great. Yeah. Get him on the big screen, and it never happened. So those are canceled now, and we know that they can't use those characters for a little while.
Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 years that they might be stuck not using them.
But on the flip side, if they are introducing these characters into the big screen, we do know that, in 4 or 5 years, they can surprise us with a Defenders movie. And everyone will get really excited because these are characters we want to see.
Exactly.
So that's great. And the third project, everyone, was She-Hulk. I don't think anyone saw that one coming.
No. That came out of left field.
Especially because Hulk movies in general don't do very well, or they haven't done very well historically. Yeah. And we all fallen in love with Hulk, the MCU Hulk that we have. Yeah. But She-Hulk, great new female hero, another Hulk smash character, especially if Mark Ruffalo, after his last appearance in whatever movie that ends up being, decides not to renew. Well, they can go with She-Hulk and continue and still have that whole character.
Exactly. It's very smart. They're kind of looking in the future as well, but they can do different avenues, collaborations. I love that they're bringing, not just well-known characters, but also lesser known unless the hardcore fans will know them, but the casual fan doesn't know, Moon Knight or anything like that. So it's great to introduce them to people, just like Guardians. Not a lot of people knew about Guardians, but that movie was so good and it brought so many people to the knowledge and get them into the fan base. It's just so smart to. Maybe it's not popular at the time, but it'll become popular once they watch the shows and movies.
I would argue that the Defenders, the characters themselves, were more popular or more known by people over the Guardians. Definitely. And the Guardians not.
Definitely.
And the Guardians hit strong, and it was a great option. I think when you have characters that people don't know, the expectations are low because you don't really have the bar to set too high. Other than the super fans who are big fans and read the comics and know that those are going to be a little bit more critical. Yeah. But people like myself who has a low to medium knowledge of the Marvel culture and the Marvel characters and whatnot, I can say that my expectations are never I don't really have expectations of going into this movie. I'm always satisfied because they give me a superhero movie. I enjoy the effects, I enjoy the story, and there's nothing for me to compare it to be like, oh, it was supposed to be like this. An example would be Ninja Turtles. A big fan of Ninja Turtles, grew up with Ninja Turtles, loved the original movies, loved the look of them, had the action figures, had almost all of them. And then when these new ones came out, I'm like, these do not look like the Ninja Turtles. I love the cartoons, the new animated one, loved it all. And then the Michael Bay movies, I just did not like the look, and that ruined it for me. And just the way that they went. And then now the new cartoon, I won't even watch it. Just they completely went out of left field with
the weapons, the
designs. I'm just like, why? Why not just give us Ninja Turtles the way we want it?
Kevin Eastman has hinted on a side note that they might be rebooting a new movie,
yes,
live action kind of thing, and making it back to more even graphic, kind of the hardcore roots original, which is fantastic.
Love it.
I think they needed to, because it's gone too
at this point.
Yeah, it's gone too far.
Do you know if it's gonna be animated or live action?
They're talking about going right back to like puppet, like the rubber
original.
Like
that's beautiful.
Original type things. Less CGI, like a little bit of CGI to help it out, but more like practical. Actual actors in suits.
Awesome. So so that was the majority of the announcements at the streaming conference at Disney Plus. But there was other Marvel news during this week. We found out that MCU and Sony are having a little bit of an issue. Yeah, in regards to the rights of Spider-Man appearing in any future MCU movies, and that's unfortunate because Tom Holland definitely wants to be in MCU movies. Yeah. We love him. Well, a lot of us love him as Spider-Man. Yeah. And the way that they ended Far From Home sets up the next Sony movie, but to see him not connect at all is really disheartening.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense on either side. I mean, I know it all comes down to money. I think Sony used to, or Marvel used to be 5%. Now they're kind of looking for 50% to kind of split it half and half. But both storylines, like they can't use Tony Stark for any kind of references or anything like that. So Happy, that's a Marvel
like
property.
How do you just end it like that?
So like they've mixed it too much for it not to come back around to make a deal. It just wouldn't make sense by either party.
I was reading a Forbes article and they were talking about figures of like it wasn't really 50%, it was like 20%, and it was like back and forth negotiations and how the numbers work and how the rights happen and all this kind of stuff. And I think it came down to the notion of like no matter what happens, they will work it out. It just may not be to the way we would hope it to be. So whether that means he will appear but there'll be some limitations, or there might be some changes. I think that ultimately, especially how big it is and how everything is interwoven, that they will somehow come to some sort of agreement, but whether we like it or how long that's going to take is up in the air. Yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean, I like the way Tom Holland handled it.
Yes.
I mean, he was professional, and at the end, he just said, it's been a rough week. I love you all, or I love you 3,000.
Yeah, that's a nice way, nice touch. Just like, hey, MCU, I get it. Like, I'm here. I want to be part of it, but,
and he's with a separate movie with Disney, so.
He is. So, I mean, we definitely know there's a new Spider-Man coming. I really hope they get this figured out. I understand Sony's like, we won't want to give up the money, but I'm like, you've had two other
kicks at the can,
and they had great moments and sad moments, and you made some money, but I don't think you've ever made as much money as you have with the MCU, and it's because of this agreement, because of the partnership, because of the writers and everything, the collaboration that has made you where you've been. Why break up because of a little bit less money? You're still making a lot of money. Like, just get over it. Like, just the fans are going to be here. We're going to watch the movies. You change it, you might have less people watch the movie, or boycott.
That bad taste in your mouth as well. Yeah, boycott it, or judge it harshly.
There was talks about the fact that like, oh well, Disney could potentially just buy out the Sony studio, and then it's theirs anyway, as a possibility, because this is, I think, the biggest property that they have right now. That's like making that specific branch, that specific studio money, and without it, they don't really have much going on. Yeah. And then there was talks about like I was watching a YouTube video and they were talking about, again, Forbes article going into some very specifics on how the deals work and like the rights, that there was like a clause that there's like a no transferable rights. So if that company gets sold to someone else, then Disney Marvel gets the rights back. So basically they can't like sell it or get rid of it. Like if that company falls out, dies, or gets sold, that automatically comes back to Marvel and Disney. Yeah. So there somehow is going to have to be some sort of agreement, some sort of setup. Let's just hope it happens sooner than later, because I'd hate for something bad to happen to the next Spider-Man or the potential next Avengers team up, because it is going to feel really weird without Spider-Man.
Definitely. And it's so sad. I believe they sold the rights to Spider-Man because they were going bankrupt at the time. Yeah. And so they sold that off to keep afloat, which worked out for them in the end. But if they can work out a deal, or maybe not even buy all Sony, but they can buy back their rights to somehow get that, because then that would bring the Venom series and all of that Spider-Man universe back with them. So let's hope it goes well.
Let's hope so. And then the last bit of news was Black Panther 2 has officially gotten the release date announced. It will be May 6th, 2021. 2022. Now the funny thing is, we both discussed. I thought that it was going to be coming out in the February slot of that year because it traditionally came out on a February, and it is Black History Month, and it just seemed to make sense to put another Black Panther movie in that slot.
Yeah.
So the fact that it is coming out in the May slot, that February slot is empty. So we know all the movies up to there. We know Black Panther 2, that slot is open.
Correct.
Do you think any of the other projects that they announced at Comic-Con, such as Blade,
Yeah.
the unannounced Fantastic Four project, could those sneak in? Or do you think
They
maybe
also
Captain
have
Marvel
the
2?
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3, but we know that
James
James
they
Gunn
gotta
is
wait
busy
for
with, what movie was it?
Suicide Squad 2.
That's right.
sequel.
So, and then even if they have the script after Suicide Squad 2 comes out, which I believe is next year.
I believe
2020?
so, yeah. 2020.
So,
2021? 2020.
yeah, well, we can double check that. So when that comes out, then he can start filming
Correct.
the new Guardians. So it could potentially be ready, but I don't think that's likely. It might be an end of 2022, perhaps a fall movie. So if that's the case, Captain Marvel 2 could fit in there, or another project potentially.
My guess would be Captain Marvel 2, just because with Nick Fury being so prevalent and them showing him up in space again, and then maybe having Thor bring her in a combo that way somehow. So that would be my guess, but they haven't given any hints really.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then after the Marvel, they kind of went off into some other exclusive projects. They talked about a Jeff Goldblum project called The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. He went on stage being his quirky self. The show itself, based on the trailer again, looks pretty funny. Yeah. Very quirky, very unique.
Looks like he's just being himself, which is a naturally quirky guy.
It reminds me of comedians in cars getting coffee. The Jerry Seinfeld show.
This is definitely going
against
Netflix. This is their way of saying, we have shows just like Netflix, so don't even worry about, cancel your subscription. Come with us because we have the same kind of shows.
That's it.
So definitely going right at Netflix.
I'm in. Kind of I'll give it a few episodes, and if it keeps me laughing, I'm in. Yeah. They also talked about Encore, a Kristen Bell show, where she's focusing on people who have talent.
Yeah. They did plays back in the day in high school.
Who did theatrical plays, singing. Yeah. Had a big talent where they kind of did it and never really got their chance in the spotlight, and kind of giving them that second chance, giving them that encore experience. So it seems like a very heartfelt, touching show. Very what's that show we have? Queer Eye, and those kind of things. It's heartwarming and
and she's great for that kind of show.
Yeah, it's that kind of style. Emotional. That's what I'm looking for.
She gets involved in them and really gets attached and feels her story, and then shows that emotion out. So she's great as a host for that as well.
So it's like
and she has a singing talent. She has that musical background with Frozen and stuff.
So. Absolutely. So I'll give it a look. They went over into their live action movies section, where they announced some new movies and some new projects coming out. They talked about Stargirl. These are all, again, movies. They talked about Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made. They talked about the live action Lady and the Tramp, which will be, again, exclusive on November 12th on Disney+.
Yeah,
right?
It's interesting that they decided to do this movie. I guess they need to hold something back for Disney+, instead of, putting it on the big screen and then releasing it on Disney+. And
I don't
think they wanted it right for...
Yes, I mean, but let's be honest. Do you think Lady and the Tramp would have made a lot of movie in the theaters?
No. So they picked the right title.
Yes,
to keep it exclusive.
It's a family movie. It's about dogs talking. Kids will like it. People who like Lady and the Tramp will watch it. Yeah. It's on your service, so it's a free movie, right? Exactly. I think it was a great choice to put on the service. Other than that, I mean, the live action movies are hit or miss for people. So yeah, I think that was a smart move. They talked about Togo. Another story about a dog up north in the Arctic, starring William Dafoe. It's actually a true story about I guess the owner and its dog Togo, and kind of the relationship they had and surviving and stuff like that in the Arctic. So they showed a trailer. We obviously can't see it; it's not up yet. Yeah. And then they talked about Noelle, a Christmas project with Anna Kendrick and Billy Eichner and Bill Hader and these actors and stuff. And I thought, again, hearing about it, it was going to be an animated movie, but I saw the trailer and it is live action. Yeah. Very reminiscent of Elf. Yes, you would say, right? A comedy Christmas movie, family movie. Yeah. I checked out the trailer. I thought it was funny.
I liked it. I mean, I'm an Anna Kendrick fan.
There you go.
But I think she's perfect. She's cheery. She's got that Elfie kind of attitude. And then in the preview, she clicks her feet and the skates come out and she
Yes.
just skates down. So she's got that innocence as well.
Yeah.
And Bill Hader training to be the next
Santa Claus, her brother.
and then sneaking on, or like going away. And
Yeah.
so I think it's very. They have the right cast for it.
They do. And as I mentioned, Elf, it does have that fish out of water moments. In the trailer, it talks about her being like in a freezer in the supermarket because she likes the cold and she likes and then people are asking about her pants, and there's some jokes about that. So it's very like, again, fish out of water moments, and I thought it was cute. So again, with the family,
I think it's a
great movie for the holidays.
Movie. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. And good timing.
Yes, for sure. Then they jumped over to the Muppets. But they have a new shorts a series based on shorts, just like Forky asked a question. It's called The Muppets Now, and it'll be featuring the Muppets, and there'll be shorts, and there'll be small episodes, and that'll be available. And then they jumped into a new show or a movie. I didn't get clarification on Diary of a Female President.
Yeah.
So there's that project that's happening. So again, a lot of variety.
Yeah, I like it. And Disney's very smart. They think, they try and think of everyone when they're coming out with shows.
Yeah.
So it's great. I love the variety that they're going to have in this Disney Plus.
Yeah. And then they finished it off. Believe me, I was dying at this point with Star Wars. I was like, yes, finally, Star Wars. Give us the news. So I'll go over the points here, and we'll just discuss it as we come up. So the first big thing was The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Sorry, was it Mandalorian or was it Clone Wars? You know what? Let's just go over the bullet points. They talked about The Mandalorian. We had Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni come out, talk about the show, showed the trailer. The trailer is online. Phenomenal trailer. Yes. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch this trailer. It takes place, and I have the image here. They had a beautiful image of the timeline of Star Wars since Disney acquired it. All the movies, all the shows, everything in order. And we know The Mandalorian takes place right after Return of the Jedi. Well, right after. I'd say within 5 to 10 years after Return of the Jedi, but still far from The Force Awakens. It's basically everything that has come out, with the exception of The Resistance, TV-wise and movie-wise, takes place before it. So Rogue One, Star Wars Rebels, The Clone Wars, Solo, everything takes place before The Mandalorian. So this is after Return of the Jedi, before the First Order takes over. Yeah. It's basically going to be a Western-style show. Yep. Very cowboy reminiscent, because they're like the Wild West. It's a lot of people kind of taking control, fighting for control. There's no real government or ruling party. Yeah. So it's like the Wild West.
Kind of, yeah.
That's it. Bounty hunters and other people are kind of moving in. So it's a great setting. Really stoked. Again, if you watch the trailer, you get the tone. The first time you see blood, I think, unless it was in Rogue One, you see blood like on a stormtrooper's helmet.
Yeah,
actually,
no, the spikes on
the Force Awakens, there was blood on Finn's helmet, but yeah, the spikes, the helmets on the spikes.
Yeah. Great visuals. You have to watch the trailer. The graphics look phenomenal.
Yes,
they have the animal, like the creature. They from the trailer, it looks spot on,
and it looks like original trilogy Star Wars.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes, 100%.
Practical effects are there. The loving attention that Dave Filoni brings and Jon Favreau brings to the screen is great. They're both Star Wars fans. Dave Filoni being, the guy who's brought Clone Wars and Rebels and now Resistance into our lives. And I loved Clone Wars and Rebels, and I'm enjoying Resistance. And he's part of this show, so I have 100% faith that this is going to be a phenomenal show.
Oh, yeah.
The cameos in the trailer from bounty hunters that showed up in Empire Strikes Back, I'm just the possibilities of what can appear in this show is just mind-boggling. I'm in 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Yes. So they talked about that. They talked about the final season of Clone Wars is coming back.
Exclusive,
Exclusive. Now, it's not coming day and date with the service. It actually is coming next year in February is when we'll get the final season for that. And then they talked about the live action show with Cassian Andor and K2SO. Yes. It's going to be a spy series, and it obviously is a prequel to Rogue One. According to the timeline,
a little bit of backstory of how they came to be. I would assume.
Yes, it's going to take place in between the beginning and end of the show Star Wars Rebels, from timeline perspective. So obviously before A New Hope, before Rogue One, as we know, Rogue One ends within seconds of A New Hope starting, and Star Wars Rebels ends right before Rogue One starts. It's all right in that point. So this is going to be in the middle of that Rebel show. So if you haven't watched Rebels, probably give it a watch. It's really good. Yeah. So that is exciting news. And then the last big surprise announcement is they had an excellent announcement a star coming back. Ewan McGregor showed up on stage. Everyone went crazy. Obi-Wan Kenobi is coming back. And when they announced it, I wasn't sure, is this a show or is this a movie? Because they didn't specify. They said scripts were ready to go. They're going to be filming. He says, I'm finally going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. He made Kathleen Kennedy ask her, and he said yes to the fans. Everyone were nuts because everyone was expecting a movie that had got canceled, but didn't really get canceled. And was he part of it? And he couldn't say.
Yeah, he kept going. If they contact me, I'd love to play them. And now he's just saying,
being quiet about it.
Yeah,
it's clearly been in talks for a while. It turns out, I've checked on some articles. It is a show. It is in syndication. It is a series that will be exclusive to Disney Plus, and it does take place. Oddly enough, it is obviously between episode 3 and 4, but it actually takes place during or in the span of the movie of Solo, a Star Wars story. So Han Solo's movie starts before the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but the movie ends after the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So I guess because the movie starts kind of showing his backstory and where he starts, and then it kind of years later how he progresses. Yeah. So it's going to take place during that period. So before the end of that movie. We know that Obi-Wan's on Tatooine. Obviously, he's supposed to be caretaker, kind of looking out for Luke. Yeah. But clearly, he's going to go on some sort of adventure. So it'll be great to know what's going on at that point. And because the show is going to be shooting as of next year, 2021. Shooting next year in 2020. It might potentially debut in 2021. We could presume the last movie, Rise of Skywalker, is going to take place end of this year in December. So what does that mean exactly? Could somehow this show be connected? Could there's a lot of rumors going on about Rey's lineage. Could it be a lineage of Obi-Wan Kenobi because of the accent? Yeah. Well, this show will definitely give us, if we don't find out in the movie 100%, which I think we will, this will definitely solidify that if that's the case.
I love how excited he was to come back and play that role. Goodness. He's been so dedicated to wanting to come back.
And he did the role so well. Like, out of all the characters in the prequels, I loved Ewan McGregor. I've loved him as an actor. I've loved a lot of his movies. He's just a great actor. And just the love and care for his craft and how much he loved this character, being not just a fan, because his uncle is the one that was playing, I don't know if it was Wedge or Biggs. That was his uncle. Yeah. And so he went to see the original Star Wars when his uncle was in the movie. And then now or maybe it wasn't Biggs, it was one of the other Red leaders, but he was there. Part of it. And then now he gets to go in and play Obi-Wan. He was so excited. And I'm like, he's just done such a great job, looks the character, and he wants to come back. And I think he's just going to make it even better, especially with a great director.
And to be honest, it would not be the same without him playing it. Not at all. Like, they could not have pulled that off. So they struck gold with that, and him wanting to come back is even better. Not like Harrison Ford all the time.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's our thoughts on the Disney streaming portion of their event. We kick off to the next day, Saturday, where they had a lot more news going on, a lot of different things popping up, and a lot of Star Wars news came up on Saturday. Rise of the Skywalker, they had a new movie poster leaked. If you haven't seen it, I'll post it up here for you to see.
It looks fantastic.
And it is phenomenal. As you can see, it has the Emperor Palpatine in the background. It has Rey and Kylo fighting on what looks to be a ship. Very reminiscent of but it looks more like a boat more than a plane ship. But I mean, who knows exactly what it is?
They keep thinking it might be the scraps of the Death Star too.
That could be it as well. With blue lightning surrounding Rey, very reminiscent of the blue purplish Emperor Palpatine lightning, but then red lightning surrounding Kylo. So again, is this a play on Emperor having control of both light and dark side, manipulating? Are they related? Is there some sort of connection between them? Is he pitting them up against each other? It's very, very interesting. I'm very stoked to see it.
Same.
Again, there was a trailer shown. It's not available online, so at this time we haven't seen it, but there have been articles.
Correct.
Would you like to talk about what was in the article?
So the biggest part of this trailer was Rey in a dark hooded cloak. Yep. Having a dual red lightsaber, similar to Darth Maul in episode 1. So that caught a lot of people's eyes and attention.
So does she turn to the dark side?
Is it Palpatine controlling? Because I know in a lot of the Legend stuff, he kind of comes back and controls bodies.
Absolutely. So there's hints of, like, is Palpatine... Did he make Rey? Did he make Kylo? Well, he didn't make Kylo, he was born. But I mean, like, there's a whole, like, the one being Anakin and the midichlorians and the Force and all that kind of stuff. Is there some sort of connection with him and Darth Plagueis and having the ability to defy death and having control of life and death and control of that kind of aspect of it? Yeah. Is there some sort of play there?
Is
So
it
many
foreshadowing like Luke went into that cave, sliced Vader's head, and then saw that was him?
Yeah.
Is this Rey foreshadowing that she could be dark if she chooses the wrong path? I mean,
Or does she have to go dark to try to save Kylo to bring him back to light? We don't know, but it's so exciting. Together. Gotta see this trailer. Disney release it sooner than later.
Oh my goodness!
Don't wait till October. Just drop it.
Us.
It comes out. Our final movie comes out December, so we know that we're gonna get one big trailer at some point. If history, as per the last two movies, repeats itself, then the trailer will drop in October because The Last Jedi and Force Awakens had their teasers shown before, but the actual trailers were dropped in October. So we'll have to wait and see.
Can't wait.
Yeah, there's not much else to say about that other than really excited. The cast had come out on stage
as well.
Yep, we saw Billy D. Williams wearing red, and I was like, "That's an interesting choice." It's just the shirt, but it's just funny. Lando being blue and red being the thing of evil and all this stuff. But it was just funny little pokes that people made online. We know that it's gonna have Mark Hamill, Billy D. Williams, and Carrie Fisher. Footage that wasn't used from Force Awakens will be in this movie, and so they will be the only legacy characters returning besides C-3PO and R2-D2, obviously, and I guess Chewbacca. They do have obviously the original, the new cast from Last Jedi. We know that Rose Tico's back, Finn's back, obviously Rey and Poe, and then there's a new character. I can't remember the actress's name now, but she plays a new character called Nori.
Yes.
And she had some comments to say about this helmet that they gave her. An empowering helmet. She felt empowered that she wouldn't want to take it off for the first 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's very interesting. A lot of people were thinking that it was Lando's daughter or relation to Lando. Again, nothing we're talked about other than she's Nori. She's a strong female character who has a past with Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron, correct. So they hinted that she has a past, so it might be able to tell a bit of his backstory throughout this movie and give it a little bit more history on him. But it should be interesting. But she loved the helmet, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then the only other thing that we know in the trailer that they're building up for this last big final battle against the First Order, the last hurrah for the Resistance and good fighting evil. So. The movie is a culmination of not just a trilogy, but 3 trilogies, a saga
to an end.
that they've got to come to an end, especially the Skywalker story. So it's pivotal that they get this right, and I think that they will do a good job. I know not everyone will be happy with the results, but I think that no matter what they do, I think that I myself will be happy with what we get.
Yeah.
I have yet to be completely disappointed with the movie.
And having JJ come back at the helm, I think is huge as well.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, his vision, the way that he wanted it to be done. I think it's going to, for the most part, a lot of people will like it.
And then the last bit of news was just other Twitter posts that I saw that happened on Sunday. Basically, I'll just list them off here and we can discuss anything we want to discuss about it. But we have Raya and the Last Dragon, a new Disney movie.
Yeah, so I believe it's a couple Crazy Rich Asian is one of the voices for that dragon.
Yeah,
so I think it might be kind of a comedy type of they're like nice dragons who want to become friends with people and stuff like that.
I think is like a water type dragon based on like some Chinese mythology or something like that. So there's like some connections there. Saw some images of it. I'm gonna wait for a trailer, but I mean, it looks like another Disney tale.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
There's a new poster that dropped for Frozen 2.
Yes.
A
little bit of plot. I think they dropped a little bit too.
I didn't get any news about that.
So the plot is supposed to be Elsa's hearing voices that no one else can hear, and she's scared to use her powers, but she wants to discover what these voices are telling her. So it's kind of telling about how she got her powers, and why only she got the powers, and so on. So they go into this enchanted forest. And then there's like people that are stuck in there. There's a lieutenant that they announced is coming back.
Yes, and her mom.
Her mom's coming back for a scene of her singing a folk song, I guess. And so it's kind of interesting in that way. So they've hinted a little bit about the plot and how they're going into this enchanted forest, and that nothing will be the same afterwards. So it should be. I mean, it's Frozen. It's going to be huge. It's going to break records.
Absolutely. And then we have Pixar's Onward, the elf-based story that takes place in modern day.
Yes.
It's not a flashback. It's modern day. So
Two brothers.
Yeah, with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. I love the actors. Great. It's
I'm
going to
in.
be funny.
Fantasy elf.
It's going to be funny. It's going to be action. It's going to be a great story. I have big hopes for it.
And that's next. No, is Onward this year? No, yeah, Onward. Is that this year or next year? Do you know?
I'm not too sure. I didn't see the release date.
You want to pull that up
Yeah.
while I'm announcing the other stuff? Okay, so while we're looking at the release date for that, because we'll probably do a review on that one. We'll probably watch that one. We're definitely going to try to do a review for Frozen 2, so definitely stay tuned to that. And obviously, Rise of Skywalker is a definite for us. But they also talked about a new movie, Soul, announced from Pixar, their next movie. And Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey are to star in that, and they showcase some images on that. Sort of kind of about what our souls, where do they come from, and what they're about.
What's our purpose? Why are we here?
Sort of like how Inside Out was about our emotions and kids growing up and like how the emotions affect you and all that kind of stuff in your memories and that kind of stuff. A cute little story about that. This is focusing on the soul and your purpose and like people's aspirations and stuff. So again, another different play. Pixar definitely always has great moral stories to tell based on completely different and random stuff, but yet the universe seems to all be connected. So I'm very interested to see how this.
I can't wait. And they always think outside the box. So
yes.
Their stories are so creative. And just going back to Onward, is March 6th, 2020.
So it is next year. Okay, so we have Frozen 2 this year, and we have Onward next year. Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, a couple months later.
Did you see the pictures for Soul?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got that.
That's good.
And then we had new art for Maleficent. The sequel is called Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Yeah. We had a new I guess they called it art. Didn't call it a movie poster, but basically new art for the movie. Look pretty cool. Again, new Maleficent movie. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
Not much more to say about that. And then the first look at Cruella. I didn't know that they were doing a Cruella movie. But yeah, I saw the image there, and it's starring Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. And the image that they showcased was Emma Stone in the Cruella garb with 3 Dalmatians, and then we have Jasper and Horace behind her. So I don't know when this is supposed to come out. And is this a theatrical thing or is this a Disney Plus thing? I have no details other than there's a Cruella movie starring Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. Okay, interesting. I assume it's going to be the Maleficent treatment, where we're getting the villain's backstory and kind of how they became the villain. Will it tie into 101 Dalmatians in this movie, like Maleficent tied into Sleeping Beauty, or will it kind of just get us to her backstory in the cartoon? We know that Anita, the owner of Perdita, the female dog, went to school with Cruella, and they were high school or college friends at the time, and then they're kind of fallen out. So will it explore that, or will it just will the movie end at that period, or will it end at the period where Anita and Roger are already married and they already have the dogs? We'll have to wait and see.
Looking like May 2021.
Okay, so there's still a couple years.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. So, I mean, that was the gist of the news. They also talked about theme park stuff. We're not going to discuss that here in this video.
Hotels, all that stuff.
Yeah, new attractions and rides and stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. But we thought we'd just cover the TV movie slate that was discussed. So with that being said, was there anything else you wanted to discuss that we didn't touch on, or anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, maybe some release dates, I guess, for Disney Plus.
Yes, let's discuss that. Let's discuss the subscription prices, the countries that they're launching. Go ahead, Chris, give us the information.
So in Canada, the US, and Netherlands, it'll be November 12th, so their original launch date. A week later, Australia and New Zealand will get their access. And then they'll release it out throughout other countries, Western Europe,
throughout
October.
The next year.
So they'll start, gradually rolling that out there. Subscription prices, so it varies depending on. So right now it looks about $7 a month, US.
But for our audience in Canada, we're sitting at 9. It's at 9.
I believe it's $9.
$8.99.
Yeah. For Canada, which is fantastic price.
Absolutely.
So it includes 4 devices, I guess, kind of thing. But you can do 7 profiles.
Yeah, so you can have 4 streams at the same simultaneous streams. Correct. So 4 devices you can be watching.
4 people can watch different
on one account at the same time.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the profiles like Netflix.
7 profiles like Netflix, so they're definitely mirroring it off Netflix a bit. But you
can curate your lists and favorites and shows.
Exactly, and you supposedly you can download stuff. So if you're on the go, similar to Netflix, you can bring it so you're not using Wi-Fi and your data that way. So it looks very promising, and the price point is great. I'm interested excuse me, because I know in the U.S. we were mentioning that they have a 3-year plan.
Yeah, they announced
Where
a
if
special
you lock
offer.
in for 3 years, it's much cheaper. So I'm hoping they have something similar to that
in Canada.
Because that would be fantastic.
The price for the US, I believe, was $140 for the 3 years.
Sounds
So when
right,
you do the math, it works out to about $3.90, 95 cents a month. So just under $4 a month.
pennies.
That is unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
even at I mean, if we were to do the
5-6
conversion,
bucks.
it's about $5.50, $6 a month for Canadian. I mean, for $9, the value you're getting is phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
cheaper than Netflix. You're getting everything. The streams, I think they even mentioned it would be in 4K. There was no,
Yep,
I don't think they
4K,
mentioned like
yep.
a higher price for 4K like Netflix. It was just one price
Yeah,
to
it
get
looked
everything.
like one.
So you get your 4 simultaneous streams, 7 profiles for $9 a month. You get all the content.
Yeah.
But if you want to save more money, pay a 3 years, pay up
Lock
front for
in.
3 years, and you get for $3 a month, $5 a month our price. I'm like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That is absolutely unbelievable.
I would lock in for sure.
The only subscription that comes close to that would be the Nintendo Switch. In Canada, it's about $30
Correct.
for the year. I think it's
Correct.
$28 or $29 for the year,
Super
which
cheap.
again is a great value for playing your games online and the classic Nintendo
The classic
titles,
games, yeah, they add on.
free Tetris, and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
that's a great price for online when considering you're paying in Canadian prices used to be 60, now it's about $70 to $80 a month for PlayStation and Xbox.
Yes.
And Netflix being about $15 Canadian now.
A month, yeah.
Like $5 a month, forget $5, $9 a month is a great price. But if you have the ability to lock in for 3 years, I think it's a no-brainer.
Oh, for sure. I would sign up day 1, 3 years, no problem.
Done.
Just
For the Mandalorian show alone,
Yeah.
but with all the Marvel, all the Star
things they're
Wars,
announcing.
all the new Disney stuff, I'm in. Like, it's
for
just,
sure.
yeah.
I'm very excited for this. I'm gonna be day 1 subscribers, so I'm ready for it. They got me pumped after this D23.
Absolutely. So, favorite, most exciting thing that they announced for you?
Oh man,
There was so much, but I mean, what was the one thing that sticks out in your mind that was like, I'm really excited about that?
Obi-Wan. I feel like it came out of nowhere,
Yes.
and I wasn't expecting it, but I was hoping for it.
Yes. So I mirror exactly.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian trailer was great. I'm excited for it.
It looks so good.
Knew it was coming, but no, the Obi-Wan announcement, Ewan McGregor, I was like, yes, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
When they talked about a Boba Fett movie and a potential Yoda movie like 4 years ago, and I was like, no, do Obi-Wan.
He's so
What
classic.
happened? He's Ewan McGregor, bring him back. And the fact that he came out and I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. That is what I'm so stoked for. I love Clone Wars. Definitely watching that day 1. But no, the Ewan McGregor announcement, hands down, was I screamed when they announced it. I watched it at midnight. And my wife was like, what are you freaking out about? I'm like, oh, Ewan McGregor is on stage. I'm like, are you kidding me?
And just to have his want for this,
his
passion for this character, he's just gonna kill it on this show. So I'm really looking forward to it. They're gonna knock it out of the park.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what do you think, fans? What do you think is your most excited moment? Was there something that we missed, a show or announcement that you'd like? Did you like to discuss? Again, drop a comment below. We'll touch base with you and discuss that with you. If you'd like to support us, please subscribe. And definitely shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you with future topics and other things we can cover.
Yeah.
We do have some new series and shows planned that we're working on to try to get some new series out for you guys. And hopefully you guys enjoy that. And if you'd like something else similar or other topics you'd like us to cover in these new series, again, please shoot us an email or leave a comment, and we'll be glad to hear from you. And with that, fans, as always, stay nerdy.